You can start whenever. And
Cool.
I'm going to need a lot of training wheels today, though. I took no notes. Steer me at a topic. Open every segment. I'll react. That's about all I can do, okay?
Hey guys, it's David here, and welcome to Hot Tuck Tapes, a little show where I and sometimes special guests share our thoughts on RuPaul's Drag Race. And here with me, back again, is Foster. Say hello.
Hey guys, I'm here.
Just a little disclaimer before we begin. Neither of us are drag queens nor experts on drag performers, but we are huge fans of the show and want to make this series just to start a conversation with you other fans out there on the interwebs. So without further ado, here we go. We're going to get into episode 4 of season 3 of All Stars, and this is Snatch Game. We've got some top-tier performers in this cast, so there was a lot of anticipation going into this.
Yeah, this is what you wait for every season, but in some ways, when you have such a talented cast like this, it can maybe lead to worse results than you thought. But we'll see what happened.
Right before this episode aired, I tweeted that I just wanted a surprise one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of didn't care how it went, but I just felt like we all kind of thought we knew who was going to kill it and who was going to flop in this challenge. I think we got that.
Did you think, okay, I don't know if I was surprised, but maybe my crystal ball is a little more plugged in than most, but...
With that much said, we're going to just go into the workroom intro moment. Okay, is devalidate a word? Because Aja, when she was commenting on how Kennedy and the milk got in a scrap, she was like, if somebody tried to devalidate my drag, it's just like, go for it, girl, all right.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of Aja. That's both like the endearing part of Aja, but just like what you should expect of her too. Like, it's not quite as bad as not knowing what an adjective is, though.
Yeah, and not quite as bad as what we saw from Chi-Chi in this episode once it came to the challenge.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Vendela chose Chi-Chi to eliminate.
This kind of surprised me, and I don't know why. Because it makes perfect sense to choose Chi-Chi just because her track record was so bad. I just thought that, like, Milk was being such a pain and did so bad that... like, it would have been easy for anyone to come to an agreement to send Milk home.
I think this probably fit within my perception of Bendela's brand.
Mm-hmm.
I saw her sending, especially after the conversation she had with Chi-Chi last week, but how this got my gears turning was, you know, based on your theory from last week that the judges did not want to send Milk home, and we're assuming that they know in advance who chose what.
Right.
Now I find that the opposite may be true, where they were assuming Milk would have a huge breakdown if the next week Marc Jacobs were coming, and she got eliminated that day. So they were just sort of twisting it for the sake of creating a lot of drama. But Milk didn't really give them that anyway.
Maybe.
So,
and ultimately, Marc didn't really do anything. I thought he would be like one of the panelists at Snatch Game.
Right.
Yeah, I guess my theory is a little out there, and you're right that this kind of does disprove it. Maybe it's the reverse, though, that reveals that the judges really wanted to keep Chi-Chi. They were still hoping, I think, for a lip sync with her and anybody. In order for that to happen, Chi-Chi needs to win a challenge, and she certainly isn't going to win this one.
Good. With that, we go into the challenge announcement, the casting. Aja and Shangela come into the workroom promoting Azealia Banks' Big Big Bead. Like, everything's going great.
I just love all the callbacks we have to Call Me Mother this season, because every time it makes me think of that like song and video. It's just such a ripoff.
I mean, that said, it's still probably the best song on RuPaul's new album.
Yeah, because it's from Azealia Banks' album.
Here, I'll kind of like go down the casting, and you say what your first impressions were. The first queen that we heard about was Trixie doing RuPaul.
Okay.
I was a little surprised by this.
Really? Sorry. I'm gonna make a conscious effort not to talk over you, but like I'm still getting used to like the delay. In her season, it was a well-known fact that Trixie auditioned with Anne Frank, and they would not let her do it. They would not even let her bring the costume on set. That's part of the reason why she was eliminated in a really shady Justice for Trixie way right before Snatch Game. But I believe she said even at the time that her backup that she was going to do was RuPaul. She made a video after she got eliminated as RuPaul and said that's what she would have done, and it's been all over everywhere. She's done the RuPaul voice, and the internet did like it and did say it was good.
Now that you're saying it, I remember the video of Trixie as RuPaul, but I wasn't a Trixie fan yet then, and I also feel like the Trixie version of RuPaul that happened on her show with Katya is sort of like a different Trixie doing RuPaul than the one where, I don't know. It's been a while.
Here's the thing. In the past, when she's done these RuPaul jokes, it's been like one-liners, like a one-off, you know? She hasn't had to...
Exactly. My first impression when she said she was going to be RuPaul, what I wrote down was, like, will this last an entire challenge? Because I'd never seen an impression lasting longer than, like, a one-liner, and it's funny because it's very out of context, very quick. Chi-Chi says she's going to be Maya Angelou, and I thought this was hilarious.
There's a lot of potential in Maya. Like, you could do this really well. As we will discuss, she did not do even anything remotely like Maya Angelou.
I don't know what even inspired her to do Maya Angelou, because it's like, was it just the look? Was she saying, like, maybe visually, like she Google imaged and was like, I could look like that?
The look wasn't right either, though.
Anything.
Like, nothing about it.
She didn't seem to know anything about the person.
I mean, it's smart, you know, because this is one of those, it's right on the wire. Either this is going to be a hit or it's going to totally bomb. And if a girl is saying that's what she wants to do, you should let her. Because it's Snatch Game, anybody could go home. You know what I mean?
Could you have imagined Chi-Chi really killing it with somebody else?
Like, who would she do, though? That's the thing.
Like Lil' Kim.
That could have been good. See, the problem is that kind of like last week, Chi-Chi is, like, really endearing and has a lot of talent, but I don't know that this is it. Well, I mean, her acting is always a little but with scripting she can maybe make something work, but when she has to come up with material quickly, she just doesn't seem to do it. You saw what happened.
Yeah, this is 2 weeks in a row now that she's had to improv, and it just,
Take an improv class. Take 3 improv classes.
I told her I was, I'm open for private coaching. Or, we can set up some sessions.
Yeah, you'd be great
at that. Remote Skype coaching.
You'd be great. Also, can I just say, too, Chi-Chi, another option is to, like, just stick with it, be, like, a polished queen, and then later on, when you have your own TV show, you can just wear an earpiece and people can tell jokes for you to say.
Oop! The shade.
Just saying.
Next, we have Vendela as Paul Lynde. Subvertive throwback characters. It seems to be a trend on Snatch Game. Like, we had Alaska and last season Sasha. They're like these sort of historical entertainers that were subversive in their time that are brought back by, like, intellectual queens for Snatch Game.
I feel you. More than that, I would just say there's a certain type of girl who that is, like, their approach to Snatch Game, and they tend to all do very well. Like, Jinx Monsoon is another person I would put in this category. First of all, I just want to say not enough props have been given in this episode to Ben de la Crème's, like, standout breakaway performance, which I saw coming immediately from the second she said she was doing Paul Lynde. I'm like, oh my god. If you know how to do a Paul Lynde impression, it is so easy. The voice and the jokes, like, Paul Lynde is like a template for jokes.
And he had his own, like, game show, so the format itself, like, everything just works in
he was
context.
On Hollywood Squares. For me, Paul Lynde, it's not even like I know him that well as him. I know him as 2 generations of, like, just repeating the jokes in his voice. He's become like an archetype in a way. From the second she said she was doing Paul Lynde, I'm like, so Ben de la Crème is going to win 4 challenges in a row. Like, this is Shea Coulee again. It would be really amusing to me if Ben de la Crème wins literally every challenge all the way to the end and then doesn't win the season. That would be hilarious.
I respect Vendela's approach and performance. And I know people in the comments have gotten a little frustrated with, like, predominantly my view on Vendela's performance. I don't know. I don't get emotionally involved in the approach. I just...
Well, I don't either, but I'm definitely giving her more emphatic props through these weeks than you are. She doesn't have to be your flavor. This is like me with Shangela. Like, I will acknowledge that Shangela's doing well. I'm just not enjoying her doing well, or really enjoying the persona that she's portraying. No one has ever won 4 challenges back to back. In fact, very few queens have won 4 challenges on a season at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bianca didn't win 4 in a row, or didn't win 4 on her season?
Bianca, I think, won 4 challenges total in her season, but they definitely weren't in a row. Queens who have won 4 challenges are, I think, in total, but comments, test my memory, okay? Tell me if I'm wrong. Sharon Needles in season 4, Bianca Del Rio in season 6, Alaska in All-Stars 2, Shea Coulee in season 9, and maybe Bob the drag queen in season 8. I think, are the only queens to win 4 challenges total.
We don't need to dwell on this, but there was like some really scripted drama between Shangela and Trixie, where like Trixie has this note from Thorgy that said some shady stuff about Shangela, and she puts it up. This, to me, read as like one of the most obviously false drama moments that Drag Race has ever seen.
Yes, this is the worst of the production. This is where I think you can see how the production has gone downhill, and maybe just from the switch over to VH1, but it's very forced drama. Like, literally, Shangela's freaking out because Thorgy called her a shady bitch, which is not even, like, a big diss. Like, queens call each other this all the time. They went from making fun of those girls to actually being that fragile. I think it happened when the producers started feeding them lines and ways to react to things.
She, of all people, you can joke with her. I could maybe imagine Kennedy reacting this way, just gauging, like, how she reacted last episode to Thorgy's note. But Shangela, it's like, you could say whatever, and it seems like she would just shake it off.
Shangela will play this game. She'll do whatever the producers want. She just wants to win, and she has a very good chance of winning because she's gonna give them every kind of narrative they want. She's doing this stupid bullshit about, can I trust you, and are you gonna form an alliance with me, and I'm gonna quote Game of Thrones every 3 seconds.
Don't leave Trixie out of this either, because like if there's another queen in the cast who will do the line readings and like fully perform for the producers, it is Trixie.
Man.
I think that, you know, given the way that she was like upset arguing, like serious face, we've never seen Trixie like that, and it read to me immediately as like, oh, she's acting.
See,
like she's giving her best effort to be like annoyed.
To me, it seems like Trixie actually was like being severely pressured by the production and the narrative that was happening and how she did in the challenge, and actually like crumbled under that pressure. I don't think she was acting. I think they literally just like put the heat on her and left it on her until she like cracked a little bit. And really, when you're up there in those shoes for like 2 hours or whatever, getting people like complaining at you when you know you did a bad job, it just seemed real to me. I don't know. Shangela does like a terrible Irish accent and calls it Miss Cleo.
Yes. BB Grace Jones, did you have any thoughts? I just kind of was like, okay, we'll see how she does.
When she said she was going to do Grace Jones, I thought she was going to end up giving me exactly what she did, which is not terrible, but like not a real understanding of Grace Jones. Because somebody said, like, but how are you going to make it funny? And it's like, have you ever seen her on any talk show ever? She, like, kind of makes fun of herself. All she gives them is this, like, most heightened, like, oh, I have sex with anybody. If a different girl was doing Grace, I could see them, like, knocking this out of the park. The look is easy. If you know how to do it, it's very easy to do it. And BB is not the kind of queen who could get me there, but she did exactly middle of the road to high bottom, and that's what I thought she would do.
Shangela originally had proposed to do Miss Cleo.
This is the kind of thing where Reddit has talked for a while, like, why has no one done Miss Cleo? It's so easy. Really, it should be easy, but you have to, like, know how to do a Jamaican accent. Shangela did not do a good Jamaican accent, and the intonation when you're saying like call me now for your free tarot reading or whatever, like, is important, you know, like, so
I'm glad that she chose to switch her decision, because I just hate when something as benign as a dialect is the reason that a queen does badly. I just don't think that the conflict is very interesting when it's like something like a dialect that the queen is up against and that's why they do poorly. It's just like a pretty boring conflict.
Sure, but at the same time though, even though she's friends with Jennifer Lewis, I didn't like the Jennifer Lewis she ended up doing. I didn't laugh once.
I was so happy.
I didn't laugh
when she
once.
first said like, well, I was considering doing Jennifer Lewis, but then I was like, oh no, I would have loved to see you do it. So then when she said she was gonna switch it to Jennifer Lewis, I'm just a huge Jennifer Lewis fan. I love the fact that they live together and how, like, I love their relationship. They are my OTP. Did you notice when she like took off the Jennifer Lewis coat and was like, oh, it's Marc Jacobs, that little leather holster moment that was just like peeking out under there?
I didn't notice it. I'd have to rewatch, I guess.
I was like, girl, you're ready for anything. When Trixie asked to talk with Shangela, like near the mirror or whatever, you can hear in the background Bendela saying something along the lines of, I'm not like reading you. I don't know if you caught this, but I just want to know the backstory there.
It'll probably be on the internet
quiet
as an extra, don't you think?
I think that it was just so that they could get the audio of Trixie like grabbing Shangela, and so you can hear it faintly in the background. That said, the internet might turn it into like a meme, or Lee Dawson may put it in an edit. This is also where we got Shangela saying, once again, season 3 me would have snatched the note off the whatever.
See, she's tired.
Is this her new catchphrase?
She has like 2 gimmicks so far. I'm a Game of Thrones. Which Game of Thrones character are you right now? Boohoo fish, tropical fish, this place fish, that place fish. Now I'm going to be aquarium fish. Just shut up, Shangela. I'm sorry. Again, I am team
She's trying
anyone
to
but
sell
Shangela right now.
t-shirts.
She's on my last nerve. Then they give her so
T-shirts
much
at drag
time
con.
on the camera. Ugh.
I'm wondering, is Shangela trying to create these memes and sell merch, or is the show trying to package Shangela? Then we get into the challenge. Yay, it's Snatch Game time.
Here we go.
Woo!
Okay.
A wild Kristen Chenoweth appears.
Okay, I'm so excited for Kristen. Leave it to Kristen to actually like put herself on the panel and be like amazing. It opens with RuPaul feeding to Trixie, who's also RuPaul, and she lands a couple jokes, is effervescent because she does the head movements just a little bit, and she goes directly into Buy American on iTunes. This whole segment is good, gave me some hope, and then immediately it went right into what I thought was going to happen.
Next we had Kennedy. She's doing Phaedra Parks, who I was not familiar with.
I know Phaedra Parks. Atlanta is the only Housewives that I'll like watch consistently or at all. Phaedra is hard to make funny accurately, but like she didn't give me any of the things that are like Phaedra. She didn't say donkey booty. She didn't say anything about like being a mortician ex-husband who like went to jail or the fight they had. She didn't do any of the like preposterous things Phaedra does, like trying to stunt or be like too good for something, even though she's also like a dick pig, or like will hire some like male stripper with like a giant dick. And like Phaedra is one of those people though that it's really hard to translate it into humor, even if she herself is funny. And the look was like almost there. Like almost. When Kennedy said she was going to do this. I have expectations of her. She can deliver comedy, but I knew she was not going to be able to give a standout performance with a nuanced character like Phaedra. I thought it would be safe for sure.
I agree. I ended up liking the look, both of them, which, I mean, that's notable that she had like two separate looks for the character, but I don't know how much I think reality stars fit.
They do, and especially Atlanta has a lot of material for you to do Snatch Game characters. The closer you are to the material, okay, this is me being Mariah, but like it wasn't satisfying in like a realness sense, and also it just wasn't funny.
I agree, it wasn't funny. I guess I don't really know this celebrity, so I can't critique how accurate or how much
it was
she took advantage of the material.
It was like 30%.
You know how like they say they shouldn't do drag queens on Snatch Game? Like that should kind of be an unwritten rule. And I feel the same way about doing reality stars.
But not
like,
on tonight,
when you're
darling.
thinking about Snatch Game.
Yeah, you say you shouldn't do drag queens, but not tonight, darling.
Tonight it was.
I can't do Crystal, but at least Aja can.
That was amazing. Wait. But
so
like,
yeah,
let me.
I'm sorry,
okay,
you're
so
wrong. Sometimes
the reason that I think
I don't think you should do drag queens from Drag Race.
I have more of an issue with the fact that those queens have been on reality TV than the fact that they're even drag queens, because like this like throwback game show format just suits itself more towards traditional celebrities who have this sort of era of like, this is my public persona, my private persona is behind closed doors, and you can see a little bit of it peek through, which is humorous and has like tension. Whereas reality stars are all about just being exposed, so there's not much room to push in this like game show old school format.
I think you just don't watch as much reality TV, and I'm a masochist, and so sometimes I do. Reality TV that is not Drag Race is a font of characters to do on Snatch Game, and a lot of them are really funny. Jocelyn Fox doing Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives, that was real funny.
Like cannot recall.
Pearl doing Big Ange, really funny. The best example I can think of is, you know how Naomi did New York, Tiffany Pollard, and did a terrible job? Someone needs to rectify that. Please do Tiffany Pollard right now. She is such a good character for Snatch Game. And in fact, I think Kennedy could have done that much better than her Phaedra. It's easy, you know? And that might have been a better choice for you, Kennedy. I don't know.
Is it
was
too
just
splitting hairs to say that reality stars of the like early 2000s are of a different breed than like Real Housewives reality stars?
Yes,
because that was before Twitter and before social media.
Yes, it is splitting hairs too
much. There was just more mystery behind it. I don't know.
You just don't relate to it.
This is probably the fact that I don't relate because I don't watch reality TV. Yeah. But I think that I'm probably a part of a substantial amount of the Drag Race audience. Like, or maybe not. I don't know. This is a reality show. People probably watch
Real Housewives. I think sometimes it's healthy to reflect on our own biases. Like, you would be fully there if one of these queens decided to, like, do Megan Hilty and just be Megan Hilty from Smash. And I get that it's, like, iconic for you.
Not Megan Hilty, Ivy Lynn. If one
like,
of them was Ivy Lynn or Karen Cartwright, I would be here for it 1,000,000%. Oh my God, please, somebody.
But see, this is exactly what I mean, though. Like, just recognize.
Wait, who's excited
where,
for Catherine McPhee in Waitress, though?
That people don't like, that aren't popular, but don't have, like, a
Catherine
twisted,
McPhee is coming to Waitress on Broadway. It was
really
announced today.
We're just fully talking over each other right now.
Okay,
moving on. Next, we move to Ben de la Creme, who is Paul Lynde. Like, she could have made herself look slightly more like Paul Lynde, but oh my God. Like,
it was giving me a little bit of Mr. G from Summer Heights High. Although Mr. G's room.
This was, like, a very good Paul Lynde impression. Front to back, she was making smart jokes. She referenced Charles Nelson Riley at least once. Played Paul Lynde exactly in tone as if he were a gay man now, being even more candid about Carson fisting and like shit like that. Breathtaking, amazing performance. Ben won Snatch Game in her own season. I think it's clear she won this one too. I don't understand why Shangela co-won with her.
Yeah, I don't think Shangela deserved. I mean, as much as I love Jennifer Lewis, Shangela didn't deserve that.
It wasn't funny at all. We'll get to her, but okay. So in the next position now, Chi-Chi DeVayne, Maya from Moulin Rouge, Lady Marmalade, Mya Angelou. From the get-go, she doesn't know how to spell Maya Angelou's name. She doesn't recover from it because when I saw it, I thought it was going to be a joke about Maya. She's going to like combine the two somehow. She was going to like do some like freestyle like spoken word rap poetry or something. That could have been funny. It was not a joke. She literally just messed up the spelling. She couldn't like make light of the fact either. And then he feeds her such a low-hanging fruit, easy setup to a joke. Why does a caged bird sing? And she literally stands up there, and I could not tell you how much dead air there was, probably like 3 solid seconds of nothing, before she says, I don't know why the caged bird sings. Why did you choose Maya Angelou if you don't literally seem to know anything about her?
And it's sad because like Chi-Chi, just as a personality, is so likable that even in that moment where she's like, I don't know the answer to your question, it was like, oh, there's just so much like charm and charisma, and like I feel for you, but also you're so unprepared.
So Shangela was next, and you like Jennifer Lewis, so I'm prepared for you to tell me if I'm wrong. But to me, this just seemed like Shangela being Shangela, talking a lot and not really delivering very many jokes.
This was a little bit of, that's just because, see, they've rubbed off on each other because they've been living together for a long time. I think that Shangela was doing Jennifer Lewis, and Shangela, outside of this character, is really like Shangela influenced by Jennifer Lewis.
Okay.
But it's very much that way rather than the other way.
Okay, yeah. I'll believe you when I say that, because this is Patti LaBelle 2.0, but like really taken to the nth degree. I don't really know that much about Jennifer Lewis.
Read her book. Read her memoir.
Whatever.
The Mother of Black Hollywood.
2 episodes in a row, 3 episodes in a row, Trixie was just being Trixie, whatever, and now you're going to give Shangela a pass for being Shangela? What was this?
I'm giving Shangela a pass
so confused.
for living.
Even if I don't know who this
Lewis.
person is, where were the jokes? What joke did she say?
She didn't. In fact, I wrote down that like her answers to the questions, it was more about like her as the character and the character being funny rather than like one-liners or answers to the questions in the game context. I agree. I mean, she didn't deserve this win. I just love Jennifer Lewis.
No, not at all.
That everybody
I think she's really lucky that the producers seem to like her. The #1 rule of this game is make RuPaul laugh. Was RuPaul really laughing at anything she said?
Ru is also a huge Jennifer Lewis fan. The interview on What's the Tea, like you can see there's a fandom there. So I feel like just the acknowledgement of Jennifer Lewis on Drag Race was enough to win Ru over.
I would have put Aja in the top above her, to be honest. She's lucky none of the other girls did very well. She's lucky Trixie choked, and I certainly would not have given her a double win on this lip sync when it was both boring as shit. What the fuck is happening on this TV right now? What is going on this night? I do not understand. I'm mad.
Girl,
I'm going to seem like such a Shangela hater right now, and she does rub me the wrong way, and I will admit it, but this is some contrived bullshit. This is not funny. You can put Shangela in every two-camera interview talking about her feelings or whatever, or I'm Daenerys. Ugh. Okay, let's move on. But let me know in the comments below how you feel about my opinion of her impression of this person. I do not know.
You and Thorgy should grab drinks together.
Oh my god.
I agree. Aja should have taken her place. So that's a good segue into Aja as Crystal LaBeija, which I was very excited about, and I'm glad she did it. Did she allude to doing this on her season?
Yes.
When she was like, oh, I'm going to do Alyssa, and then everybody was like, why didn't you do Crystal?
It showed a lot of growth for Aja. I would say, fairly good the whole way through, right?
Well, yeah, and especially in comparison with her Alyssa Edwards from her season.
Yeah.
I think that this was miles above.
Absolutely.
Inconsistent, and, you know, she seemed very prepared. So I thought she did a fine job.
Yes. I thought this was great. Crystal doesn't have like this like wide pool of material to draw from. She didn't have like a lot of catchphrases. She did that whole thing and made it funny and made it Crystal LaBeija without saying, it's terrible, the whole time. The whole time.
Hopefully it gets some people to do some digging who don't already know who she is. As commercial as it's gotten, Drag Race still should serve as a vehicle to like dig deeper into the history of drag. And I wish they'd given Aja more screen time. That was the only other thing that like I was left wanting. I wanted them that maybe they didn't have enough.
I'm guessing it's a charitable cut, though. I'm glad, I guess, they showed only this much, because it leaves me with the impression that she did well and should have been given more praise for it. But maybe if they had given her a longer cut, she didn't do well. So
BB, who started off strong, I thought, stomping on the table, and I just felt like, you know, great, strong start, and then it just kind of flatlined after that. What you were saying about BB not having funny answers and then just kind of like thudding, it's funny because Shangela, that was the exact same issue with her, but for some reason, just her charisma, her ability to think in the moment, she was able to like mystify the judges and the audience into not really noticing that her answers weren't funny by just bantering with them in between. Whereas when BB made a mistake, it was very visible. She wasn't
not this viewer of the show. Shangela reacted to it, which is what you should do when you drop the ball a little bit. Sure, I'll give you that. I do want to say, though, that on the topic of BB and Trixie are the only two girls here who have never done Snatch Game before at all, which is kind of a unique dynamic, because last season's All-Stars, you know, everyone had done Snatch Game. Especially if, like, you do poorly on Snatch Game and that's part of why you go home. It really is formative for you going back. Trixie especially really suffered from this. The real problem of conception here is that people tell her that her RuPaul impression is funny. When you're doing it in front of RuPaul, you need to, like, edit what the punchlines are. She was doing way too much head movements, which I think RuPaul is sensitive to the point that this probably really irritated her. What I would have liked to see more is more of the jokes at like the sponsorship of their podcast. Casper Mattress, Boll & Branch Sheets and stuff. And actually, now that I'm saying this, she probably said that and they had to cut it all. Or they told her, you can't say this, they're not sponsoring the episode.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
That sucks, because that's like most of her material for doing RuPaul, you know? Or literally more like direct quotes of things RuPaul says all the time.
She tried to do one of those puns, like the judging puns, and cut into somebody else's line. I don't remember who it was, but it just like fell flat. That's what
I was getting at earlier when I said that Trixie was not served by understanding the timing of Snatch Game, though. Because if she had done it before, she would have a sense for like how things go and the timing of when you can successfully land an interruption.
It's fully like a sport. It's like intercepting. Like you have to know kind of the play.
I don't know, though. Personally, I think that this was edited to look like it landed a lot less than it did, though. So I will acknowledge she did not do well. She acknowledged she did not do well. She could have done a lot better. But also, this was her first time doing Snatch Game. Whereas this is Shangela's second time doing Snatch Game and her third time on the show, and she still doesn't seem to know what to do at Snatch Game. So
as much as you don't like Shangela's interview moments, she did deliver, in my opinion, some truth regarding Trixie's performance. Y'all told her on the internet it was funny. I blame y'all. I agree. I think that this character is better kept on the internet. Exactly. No, but that's the thing. Like, it needed to stay there. I don't think that there is a world where Trixie doing RuPaul in front of RuPaul on Drag Race on Snatch Game was going to be funny.
It was probably not a good idea to have Kristen Chenoweth be a panelist, because Kristen Chenoweth won Snatch Game. Like, Ben de la Creme for sure won, and then Kristen Chenoweth did the second best. And she's not competing, and that's the problem, because it cheapens everyone's performance.
In the room, it was probably draining. Like, having her sitting there the whole time as a professional live actor.
I'm glad she did it. It was great. It was good for TV. It was amazing. But if I were any of those queens, I would be pissed that Kristen Chenoweth was allowed to upstage them like that. She had props. She had everything. I'm like, oh,
yeah, the booster chair. I wrote down, like, is that a Squatty Potty sponsorship? Like a very undercover Squatty Potty sponsorship?
No.
She pulls it out.
Not quite.
I wanted
They're not
it
allowed.
so
They're
badly.
not paying for the show.
Flower Power, and this is a speedy runway, which we all hate when they just fast forward through. It snatched Rue's hairline back to, like, the middle of her head because it went by so quickly. Aja.
Aja's looked amazing. So beautiful. I loved the detail was really good. I loved everything about this. Styling was on point.
I agree. I loved everything about Aja's look. I thought it was very nice. I really liked the details of the petals. Only thing that like could have possibly been improved was the pink ribbon. It just didn't look like quality enough when
I didn't get a good look at it because again we got like 4 seconds total maybe to look at it, and that's generous. Probably like 2.5 seconds.
Shangela's look, I just wrote ugh.
We all know this is the Paloma Spain Beyonce pregnancy photo look. But this is like the Serena Cha-Cha. I made this in my garage budget version of it. It was not flattering to her body. It looked awkward. It did not look good. It looked cheap. It looked bad. This iteration of this Beyonce look is homophobic.
Next we have BB, and I just wrote Roxy Andrews, and she's here to make it clear. That was all I wrote.
That's good. That's a good read. I thought this was so bland and boring, but they thought she looked amazing.
Kennedy, I was all about the concept. Seeing it in the teasers, I was like, she looked, that whoever did the sunflower thing, upon extended look, I felt like the makeup itself had some problem areas.
Yeah.
And the right side of the dress where like the flowers kind of fade away, I felt like there was something missing. It just looked like black fabric, matte, like not anything special. And just like to balance out the detail, I would have liked some sort of a texture pattern, like maybe some sort of glittery fabric. Just, it felt like it was missing something on the right side.
Wow, David, for once I actually completely agree with you about fashion.
Oh my God!
I will just add, I think it was Carson who threw in that the like green, super plasticky and obviously like Michael's looking quality of the leaves on this flower really cheapened it and really took away your enjoyment of it once you looked at it. So I had basically the exact same reaction. She steps on the runway and it had impact, and I'm like, what I said was, oh, this is nice for her. For Kennedy, this is good. And then just the more you look at it and the more you look at the detail, I'm like, oh, this is like really not very polished.
Chi-Chi with big blonde hair. Once again, makeup looked wonderful. I wouldn't have thought that Chi-Chi could pull off big blonde hair like this, and she, you know, made it happen. The look itself was just a little bare.
What?
Like it didn't have enough.
I thought she looked great. The only edit I would have made is I thought that the waist was a bit high, which is like fine, but for this look, I would have just had that like harsh line a little lower. And more like this like nude illusion, whatever the white thing. Not that it's like a nude, you know what I mean? Like this like semi-transparent fabric, whatever.
Seeing it next to like the really petally looks like Aja, Trixie, it was just like, there are a few petals there, but it could have more shit on it. But I think it was just also by comparison, I just, you know, it didn't seem as much. Which leads us into, lastly, Trixie, who just totally killed this. Wasn't that Trixie?
There's also Ben.
Bendela's out.
Yeah.
Oof, I always forget about Bendela. So next up was Trixie, who I think totally killed it. Just the umbrella alone should have won, for the runway at least, should have won this for Trixie.
This was flawless.
Like, there were some,
I mean, it's to the point where I don't even really have anything to say. She looked amazing.
There was just like not anything to complain about. It was just everywhere you looked, there's a hem. It was great.
I'm sorry, I lost it there for a minute.
Bendela was last. Well, I was making a reference
also
to
looked
BB,
perfect.
And
I'm sorry to preempt you, but like Bendela looked flawless too. This is probably the best she's looked ever. Like this is right up there with that first episode where she sewed that thing and it fit her body like perfect. This looked great.
I thought it was okay. It just didn't blow me away like Aja or Trixie, I guess.
You just hate Ben.
There was just something about like the fabric it didn't seem, like I like the shape,
Go
I like
home.
the concept.
I'm sorry, go home.
But the fabric didn't look like expensive enough.
No, next. Canceled by no.
The bottom three for this week was Chi-Chi, Kennedy, Trixie, and then, surprise, Aja and BB, who received critiques, ended up being safe. And Shangela and Bendela were in the top once again. I'm glad that they made this a surprise and that Aja and BB got their notes at this time, because I just feel like we've already heard the judges address Shangela and Bendela a lot. So I was all about that little, what was it, the gag of the season.
What gag? It was not a surprise, girl. It was very clear.
Are you unaware of this meme? BB saying, "Oh, that's the gag of the season."
I'm aware. I'm just saying. You said you like enjoyed this surprise. What was surprising? Aja and BB were clearly safe. But that's what the BB
meme is that you say it about things that are not surprising.
Okay.
My favorite version is "That's the sea." where they just block out everything else. It's a picture of the sea, and then it's... Anyway, this is tangent. So backstage, they had, there was Trixie breaking down. We already kind of talked about her fans' expectations. I thought it was good. This is the moment that I was waiting for when I said I was like looking for a fall from grace. I am really expecting a phoenix will rise from this moment.
I guess. I just hate contrived TV like this. Like, I get that TV has to do this, but it feels so overt now.
I just think it's interesting to hear Trixie, in these moments where Trixie acknowledges her fandom outside of the show and like the weird juxtaposition it is to be a RuPaul girl who became famous off of the show going back onto the show. I just think the dichotomy between those two is interesting. And so hearing Trixie say stuff about that, I was like, okay, I have an ear to that.
I wish the show respected Trixie enough to like let her flourish and earn her place in the top 3 on her own merit and not eliminate her before Snatch Game to prevent her from doing something that offends people, or like give her this edit that makes her look real bad at the beginning so she can rise at the end. Like, just let Trixie do Trixie. Right. Like, I wish that, like fair. They didn't feel the need to like put all this mechanism behind like how she's going to do on the show.
Chi-Chi was very ready to go in her conversations with Bendela, with both of them, was just literally like, send me home, was laughing about it.
I was like, so therefore, this shows such grace from Chi-Chi. A lot of these girls would just be like, please save me, please, I'll do better next time, whatever. Like, no, she was just real.
She also, she was saving herself from becoming Roxy Andrews. She was fully like, I do not want to be Roxy Andrews. Don't keep me around just because I'm whatever.
Doing these discussions, Shangela is being so fucking Shangela.
Bringing up the note thing with Trixie at the point of like choosing who to eliminate, it just was so beyond contrived. It's like, who are you fooling? You're not going to eliminate Trixie this episode.
Yeah, well,
and it's definitely not going to be over a note.
I don't hold that fully against her because that's the producers making drama, because even right up to the end, that whole speech she gave made it sound like she was sending Trixie home.
That was fully produced. Yeah,
Alexis
it was a
Michelle
combination of like...
it.
If Shangela were ever being manipulative and playing the Game of Thrones game, it would have been right there playing those mind games with Trixie leading up to revealing.
That's literally what she did.
Because that
been
shit,
doing it
that
all
messes
season.
with somebody.
Before they go to lip sync, they're wearing these like 50s looks. I said to Gabriel when we were watching this, I was like, this has got to be like a song from Hairspray. Or this has got to be like maybe Grease. It's got to be like some musical theater number. Kristen Chenoweth is here. They both look like they're like 50s girls. And then we get into the lip sync, and it's fucking Katy Perry, I Kissed a Girl.
Which I will say is her best song. I know that it's problematic. No, I know. This album was very problematic in the queer community. But in terms of genre, this was Katy Perry when her soul was mostly in her body, because everything Teenage Dream On, it was like robot Katy Perry. This was when, I saw her at Warped Tour in 8th grade. She still was like in a jumpsuit dating that guy from Gym Class Heroes.
No, David, don't be an apologist for homophobic Katy Perry. This is like everything I hate about Katy Perry in one song. Like, this is 1 degree away from So Gay. This is why Katy Perry should never have been allowed to happen. Why the white gays who have supported her rise are the most problematic, sellout, terrible, corrupt people. How any self-respecting gay man can support someone like her and still be a fan of her music, it offends me. It is homophobic. It's messed up. And you are...
I was in middle school,
it is like the weirdest
and
Stockholm
I just
syndrome shit.
The sounds.
I do not get it. I do not understand.
I just liked how... like pop punk it sounded. It was when I was like all about Paramore and Cobra Starship, and she just seemed to fit in with them until she sold her soul.
Girl, you are gonna push me right off the edge. Just from a sheer music stance, like if we're like, I don't comprehend English, I don't know what these lyrics are, this is a better choice than Lord, sure. But like, other than that, I'm like, ugh, this show is not about straight girls. We as gay people can do better than this. Like, draw from our legacy of music, I mean, I guess if you want to say Sylvester, but we have not heard a single song from a trans person at all in the history of the show. What is up with that? Like, come on. We can do so much better than this, RuPaul. You can do better.
They could have at least done Squirrelk. No?
I'm just done. I'm just so done.
Whatever your feelings on the song, the editing was very rigid this time around. Like, the lip sync edits are always kind of like an ear kill, but especially with this, it just was very chopped together. First, we have a little bit of a worry moment from Shangela because she's struggling with the hair clip. getting it out. And I was like, oh shit, is she going to lose this?
She shouldn't have even
like,
done that because her hair looked bad when she pulled it out of the clip, too.
Full Mimi from Rent with the reveal. It was very out tonight. Mm-hmm. And the mints really took me all the way there.
Yeah. This was good. This was good on both sides, though. I feel like Ben did well, and Ben kept up also.
Ben's look was very Katy Perry of that era, you've got to say. If it had not been so consensual, this was a little borderline drag as a contact sport.
Yeah, it got the middle close and a little, like, violent, almost.
Like some strangly moments, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit.
Which was kind of weird.
It was kind of a weird lip sync, but at the same time, really top tier. Like, they both did good. They showed only both of them doing pretty good. There were gags. There was a lot of interesting stuff. Like, not a lot of dead air. They're both really bringing it.
And after last week, that was a very welcome change.
And Shangela is fully prepared to, like, go for every kind of stunt. She's got 3 different props in every lip sync. She is a stunt queen. And it's working out for her so far.
With that said, they both end up winning. They build up to Bendela revealing Chi-Chi, which, that was very much a given, because it was basically like a rehash of last episode when she chose Chi-Chi. They said the same thing, yada, yada. And then we have Shangela building up to possibly choosing Trixie.
She was giving a speech as to why she eliminated Trixie. They were cutting to Trixie reacting because everything she's saying makes it you think she's talking about Trixie. This is someone who didn't do well in their season but has grown on to go to great heights, and she's done great strides, and I know she will continue to do that. She was talking to Trixie. This was a crafted moment. They were like tugging at your heartstrings, making you think that Trixie was really going to go home. And they got me.
Well, and I fell for it. Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah.
I mean, before the commercial break, before the lip sync, I literally wrote, like, oh, well, obviously, they're both choosing Chi-Chi, no doubt. And in this moment, I was fully turned up until the point where the name was revealed. And I was like, oh my God, they did not just get me.
Like, I was freaking out.
I was already plotting, like, oh, they're just, like, prepping for a comeback. Like, she's going to be brought back, and it's going to be this big arc.
Yeah.
So I was, like, already emotionally preparing myself for her to go home this episode, but thank God they both chose Chi-Chi. Yeah. I think that she was even thankful for it at that point. It was a full-on Charlie Hides moment. She wanted to go.
Send me home. Just send me home. In the moment, they fully took me there, but stepping back from it, like, both of those queens know that if they sent Trixie home, the fans would go crazy. And I think the show also knows that if they eliminated Trixie for bullshit reasons again, the fans would go nuts.
Overall, I thought it was an entertaining episode. Wish it had been an hour and a half, especially, like, the runway.
You could feel how shortened it was. I think this show has just got to the point where it should always be an hour and a half now. VH1, just give them the time.
Next time, we have Titus Burgess on, which I'm very excited for, because I love him. And some Andy Warhol challenge I didn't really catch. Did you catch, like, what the Andy Warhol challenge
it's going to be a ball challenge. So you know how it's like a sewing challenge. Come up with 3 looks. You have to do it here, and you better actually do it here.
Yeah.
Valentina.
That'll be refreshing. Real quick, before we go, we're going to address some comments from last week. Comments in general were addressing the dialogue between us and the cadence of our opposing thoughts, to put it mildly.
I'm definitely still getting used to the delay because we're talking over, like, audio only. So there'll be times where I'll catch myself talking over you because of the delay or vice versa, and it's just something I need to get used to. But not only that, I was hangry last episode, so I totally own that. Sorry, I was mean. I'm going to try and keep my energy focused on the queens where it should be. So, like, if they piss me off, I'm going to keep it there. Or if, like, the production pisses me off, I'm going to keep it there.
People might not realize because we, like, sync it up, but there's a delay of, like, a full 2.5 to 3.5 seconds, which is very hard when you're trying to have a dialogue and keep it flowing. People live for your critical mind and cutting edge with your opinions. So I think dulling that down would be probably worse than us overlapping a little bit. You know, we're settling in. Remote correspondence is a different gig, but we're glad the internet allows for it.
For David, I think the comment you received the most was people correcting you, that Shangela said that in season 3 she would have thrown her cocktail at someone. I think you said contact.
I would love to say that this was a really subtle contact reference to give a little wink to Katya on her time off, but that is not the case.
Yeah, I will not Jodie Foster that kind of excuse.
You know, when I'm watching the show, I'm like sitting there with my laptop, like with the dual monitor set up, like trying to write notes as quickly as I can and like looking up and down. And I just, you know, I'm not good at quotes. I will misquote in the future. I will give certain lines attributed to the wrong queen. I'm just trying to get as good of a general idea as I can filming right after these episodes air. So that was just fact error. And thank y'all for keeping me honest. With that said, if you leave a comment about this video, you may end up in here next week during this section, and we highly encourage you to leave your honest thoughts in the comment section below. If you agreed with us, if you super disagreed with us, just share your thoughts about the show, whose team you're on, and what you thought of their performances this episode, because we love starting a dialogue and discussing each episode with you guys who are watching.
This is my favorite segment. Sorry, I just like really enjoy this. And definitely this episode has been such an emotional roller coaster for me. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the episode and how it made you feel.
Thank you as always to Foster for dialing in remotely.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to keep flipping out about Shangela.
And me giving a solid flat line on Vendela. Other than that, thank y'all so much for watching, and we'll see you very soon. All right, bye.
Bye.